That really sucks. In this video, I make this multi-function crosscut sled. It has a small profile and tons of features, like these hold-down clamps to secure your pieces when you're working with them, and this stop block to make fast, repeatable cuts. Now, during this project, I had 4 screw-ups, 1 really big lucky break, and at the end of the video, you'll see where there's a little bit of a plot twist where I add 1 more really big feature to this baby. So stick around and check it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab my favorite tool in the shop, the track saw, and cut my parts to their initial sizes. Then I'm going to go over to the table saw and cut out small parts I need, which is ironic because if I had a table saw sled, I could do it like that. I also grabbed a piece of red oak that I have that I'm going to use for the runners. Now I wanted this to be a perfect fit, so I put it through the drum sander until it was just right. And now I'm getting it to the thickness I need. So it should be just under the table saw bed. After a quick layout to make sure everything was ready to go, it was time to measure for my T-tracks. Now the T-track I bought is aluminum so I can cut it at the miter saw. I used one of the fence pieces as a straight edge to cut the dado for the T-track. I did a quick cut to check the depth and then finished the cut from the other side because it was kicking so much sawdust back at me. Then I turned it around and cut the other side. After a quick test fit, I lost my pencil. Oh, there we go, found it. And made a mark for my last cut. Now since the T-tracks fit so tightly, I decided not to use screws for this and just used super glue and hammered them in. Alright, so now it was time to install the runners. I put some nuts in the miter track to raise the runners up above the bed of the table saw, and used way too much super glue. But I was okay with it because I'm not going to use screws on this either. Now I set the table saw fence to 12 inches and kept the piece pushed up against it while I lowered it onto the runners. After about 10 seconds of holding it there, it was nice and secure, so I could take the nuts out and go for a test flight. Nice. Now it was time to install the front fence, so I marked where the blade would cut through so I didn't put any screws there. Then countersinked some holes, clamped on the front fence, then screwed it in from the bottom. Then it's time to start working on the back fence. The first thing I do is put a roundover on the inside of the back fence so no sawdust gets trapped in there. Then I put way too much glue on each half and clamped them together. I used a playing card to scrape up as much of the squeeze out as I could and set it aside to dry. Then I took it back over to the table saw and cut almost all the way through. This will help with making sure the back fence is square to the blade. Once the back fence was dry, I took it out of clamps, then commenced to making what I think is the most annoying sound ever. No, not that one. This one. Then I sanded off the rest so I could take it over to the table saw and get them dead flat. Alright, so I'm an idiot. I made plans for this, and rather than use my plans, I just kind of winged it. So, if you notice, this board is taller than these boards. That's because this board was intended to be part of the back fence. It is right now on the front. And since I glued these together, I can't just take this off and make it part of the back fence. This T-track was supposed to sit on top of the shorter ones, and it'd be flush with the top. And then this last short one would be part of the front fence. So basically, I am going to have to add another step, which now is to take this, which is now the back fence, and basically cut out what would be normally like a dado in order to fit this T-track in there. So rule number one, kids, follow the plans, especially when you make them for yourself. I set my blade height and my fence to the right settings for the width of the T-track. And did the same thing for the depth. Then I countersunk, then screwed the T-track in place. Then I set the right placement for the back fence, made sure it was square to the side, which is just a good starting point. Clamped the back fence on. Then made some rough marks so I could countersink some holes. I screwed in one side just tight enough to keep that fence in place so that when I squared it up, I could tap it a little bit and make micro adjustments. Once I got it square, I clamped it into place, flipped it over, and put a screw in the other side. At this point, I was going to do what's called the 5-cut method to really dial in the accuracy, but I got a really lucky break here and got it close enough. I'll still leave a link in the description for how to do that if you want to make one of these for yourself. Attaching the blade guards was super simple. I just used some CA glue and activator. There's no need for screws here, so I just glued it and moved on. Here's another issue with my first mistake. Now the stop block is too tall. So I used my new table saw sled to trim it down. See what I did there? Much better. Assembling the stop block was exactly like the blade guards, a little CA glue and activator, and it's done. And here's my next mistake. When I cut the T-track, I cut it a little bit too deep, and so I put a flush trim bit in my router, turned the table saw on its side, and trimmed it off real quick. Quick and easy fix. Then I marked the middle of the T-track so I could drill a hole for the bolt. And I'll give you a nice view of my battery. That's a nice battery.
That is a nice boulder.
So here I'm having to take the front fence off so I can install the T-bolts. I should have done this before installing the back fence, but it's a good thing I didn't glue the front fence on. This just amounted to a quick detour, and then I was back on track. And now it's time for the big plot twist. I decided I wanted this sled to pull double duty and be able to cut 45-degree miters. To do that, I had to take one of the runners off so I could move the sled from one miter slot to the other, which wasn't that difficult. I also used this time to put some paste wax on the bottom of the sled. If you do this, just make sure to buff it off really well or it'll gum up and stick to your table saw. And yes, that's experience talking. To keep the T-bolts from sliding around all over the place, I installed the hold-down clamps. Then it was time to cut the 45-degree miter. Then came my final and biggest mistake. Since this was a last-minute change, I didn't think to check for screws in the back fence that might be in the way of the blade this time. It obviously took me a second to figure out what exactly had happened.
I'm gonna mess up a blade real quick.
I figured I'd already messed up the blade anyway, might as well finish the job. it cut right through the head of the screw, so there was literally nothing I could do about it but finish the cut. Then once I got all my emotions out, I went ahead and did a test cut with a piece of walnut that I'm using to make the cutting board. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss that video. And then I set the stop block and cut out a ton of 1-inch strips. Nice and easy. All right. I really like this thing. Now there is one big thing that I would change about this sled, and I made the change in the plans, but that's to move this T-track a little bit closer to the blade so that this hold down clamp can get a little closer when I'm using really small stock. I also think that one of these days I'll put one of those sticky backed measuring tapes on here, which will make moving this stop block a lot faster and easier. But all in all, I'm happy with it and I'm excited to get to use it. So I hope you enjoyed that project and that you get to go out in your shop and make one of your own. That's it for this video. We'll see you next time. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Control your spit. Big is my key word.